All right, so once again, I apologize. So this up on Tuesday, I think as everybody knows, this is officially going to be the continuance of our April 20th meeting. That meeting was opened on the 20th. Then it was moved to a date certain tonight on 4/22. Here we are, 7 minutes late, but we are still here. So I would like to officially open the meeting of the Marshfield Conservation Commission on April 22nd, 2021. Look for a second.
Second, Greg Hannafin.
Got it.
Bill? All right.
Yep.
So we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carver, yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Greg Hannafin, yes.
Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne, yes. All right, so the meeting is officially open. Great. So I'll be very, very brief. I think I just covered it beforehand, so everyone knows what happened. Everyone probably was here on Tuesday. I'll just go through this real quick. All meetings will continue remotely till further notice. 3 continuous rules still in effect. Please mute until you wish to speak. We have 20 items to address this evening. Please make sure to keep your discussions to the point, staying on the subject matter necessary to the commissioners for deliberation. We're going to use the modified Roberts rules of effect. We've covered them 9 million times. I think everybody knows what they are. I find it very ironic that I stated previously, we've moved from an in-person Zoom model for a year now. The state of the maybe I ask people if they consider keeping this or not keeping this or what they like. Still give us our thoughts. We still did a year with only one problem. We've got additional security this evening. I thank those who are there that I may not be able to see or know for assisting us this evening. I believe where we were at the last meeting when we continued, we were on B1 251 Damon Point. Let me see who we got. I'm trying to look at everyone here. 25 participants. Yes, we have Attorney Brodsky. Do we have? We got John. We got Brad.
Brad is here by phone.
Thanks, Brad. Okay, we got Brad, and I don't know if Mr. O'Kane is here or not. But
Mr. Kilcoyne, this is Adam Brodsky. Mr. O'Kane could not be here this evening.
you're right. He's got fantastic representation. He's in good hands. So, if without objection, Attorney Brodsky, where we left off, and I will summarize that. All right.
Yes, sir.
We went through the discussion. The commission accepted the plan as presented this evening. The commission had a question regarding, I believe it was herbicides. I believe Mr. Holmes gave an answer and provided a description as to why it was written. We did a poll. The commissioners decided to accept the language that is currently there based on Mr. Holmes' description of it. And we were just about, I think, ready to do a vote for acceptance when we had our fun evening. Is that how you remember it, Attorney Brodsky?
Mr. Kilcoyne, yes, that's my recollection also.
Would you be willing to move forward from that point right now then?
Of course, please proceed.
All right. So, commissioners, I just summarized where we were. I think we're all ready to take the vote. So I would like to make a motion that we accept the plan as drawn in front of us tonight with the assistance of Mr. Rockwood and the assistance of Mr. Holmes. And we covered it before. It's a good plan. And I'd like to thank both of them working together and coming to this position. And with that, I would like to make that motion to accept that. I'd look for a second.
Second, Rick Carberry.
With that, Bill?
It's Rick.
Okay. And we'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Rick.
Rick Carberry, yes.
Commissioner Craig.
Greg Hannafin, yes.
Commissioner Arthur.
Art Loggy, yes.
Mr. Joe.
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Susan.
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt.
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne, yes. So that is official, Bill. We have a, I believe it's a 7-0-0 vote to accept it as presented. Thanks everyone for your help on this one. I know it was somewhat of a long slog, but we got it done. And thanks everyone for their assistance.
Thank you very much, and good luck tonight.
My pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Attorney Brodsky.
Good night.
We'll move on to D2 now, which is Oak Cemetery land transfer. I think we all remember this. We've looked at this before. These are the projects at Couch Cemetery and the ball fields, require a natural heritage program, the form of permanent land protection. We've got current orders set aside to meet these requirements. There's a set aside of 6.398 acres to the commission, which completes the 53.7 acres required to be protected as a town. Under the care and custody of the Conservation Commission is under Article 97. So the remaining acreage will be considered for credits for future projects that will entail NHESP requirements. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we ratify the transfer of the Couch Cemetery land to the care and custody of the Marshfield Conservation Commission. I'd like to look for a second.
Art Loggy, second.
There you go, Bill. All right. And we'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carver, yes.
Mr. Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Mr. Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Mr. Joe.
Joe, you're muted.
Unmute, that's all, Joe.
Sorry, trying to switch back. Yes. Joe Ring, yes.
No problem. Commissioner Susan
Susan Karen, yes.
and Vice Chair Burt.
Earl Donald, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. Bill, that's a 7-0 vote to approve B2 Couch Cemetery land transfer. We're going to go now to B316 East Street, special condition review, SE 422563 LeConte. We're going to, as far as I know, Bill, table this to our May 4th meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion that we table B316 East Street to our May 4th meeting. I'd look for a second.
Craig Hannafin, second.
Thank you, Craig. Do a roll call vote. Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carver, yes.
Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy recuses. It's my neighbor.
duly noted. Bill, as recused.
Got it. Picking it up now.
Arthur, remind me to bring you back in again, please.
I'm back in. Oh,
No, not yet.
Not yet.
all right, all
Wait
right.
till
We're still recused. We have to
Do me a
finish the vote.
favor, Art, would you re-recuse yourself, please?
I re-recuse myself.
Thank you.
Stay that way till that vote, Arthur.
Okay.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
we're skipping Arthur's recused. Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Earl Donald, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. So that's a 6-0 with a recused. Bill.
Okay, Art, you can come back, please.
I'm back in.
Arthur, you're back from being
Thank you.
recused.
Back, Art.
Thank you very much. Let me draw lines to this so I don't lose my place.
Ah, that's good.
So the next one. Oh, you know what, Bill? Just in case someone's here, let's let people know what the continuances are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was my error. I should have told everyone.
You would go to page 7, I think, or 6, 7.
Continued hearings. Let me know if I missed one. So if anyone's here this evening for Planting Field 167, SE 422920, that is continued to 5-4. Brewster, SE 422887 is continued to 5-4. South River, SE 422905 is continued to 5-4. And Marginal 62, SE 422916 is continued to 6-1. I think that's all of them, Bill?
Yeah, I believe there's one more that'll come up.
Bill, what about 13 Brewster? Is that on or off?
I think it's off, and I think that's the other one, Bert, I was thinking of. Attorney Brodsky's here, and I'm just gonna say that what happened is the taxes had not been cleared, and they had it sent us a letter 11th hour. So I think 13 Brewster is also a continuation. I apologize.
Yeah, so I think Bill Vice Chair Brett this is on the agenda.
Yeah.
So we're going to open it. And then we will continue it probably from an administrative perspective from not having the taxes be paid, okay? And then we'll close it and continue. So it's
You'll continue it only. You won't close it. You'll continue it only.
yeah, well, exactly. We'll vote to continue. Thank you. Let me find out where I am because now I lost my place. We are now on B4. Do we have Mr. Finn online? No,
Bill, you gotta unmute.
him to be here, but,
He is here. He is
Okay.
unmuted. Good. He's solid. He's good.
all right. Evening, Mr. Finn.
Good evening.
So B4, for everyone to understand, is for William C. Finn Associates, Inc. Let me make a proposal that we ratify as the airport qualified consultant that will report to the commission. Mr. Finn has been a stalwart of supporter of the town's departments for decades. He's had numerous areas of expertise, including paralegal services. His unique knowledge of the Marshall Airport and other airports provide specialized capabilities that will benefit the commission. The recommendation I'm making is that we ratify Mr. Finn as an airport qualified consulting, providing expertise, reporting, problem solving, and interactions with the Conservation Commission. And as well as with the administrator. That's what we're got in front of us. Mr. Finn, I think people will remember, was a pivotal person in the Revive 505 efforts. I led a lengthy resume of Mr. Finn. He is phenomenally qualified for this position. I would like to make a motion that we bring on William C. Finn Associates, Inc. as a qualified consultant for the airport reporting to the commissioner. I'd look for a second.
Joe Ring, second.
Joe Ring. Roll call vote. Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Mr. Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Earl Donald, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes as well. Mr. Finn, I want to thank you very much for your service to the town. You continue to amaze me with the amount of help you have given us. So I say thank you. You're as a qualified consultant for the airport. Thank you, Mr. Finn.
I look forward to working with the commission. And are we going to do the policy and procedure guide? Is that on the agenda?
That is B5. That is the next item, Mr. Finn.
Okay, I'll wait.
Yep. Okay, great. So I think Bill, we're ready to add on, what is it, 5 and, first of all, let me ask the commission. Easy to say it that way. The commissioners, Bill, what one have we settled to ratify? Either, Bill?
No, let me do it and then we'll let the commission. So we put in front of you 4, 5, and 6. However, there's been some debate about 4. If the
Right.
commission wants to wait until that debate's over, we'll just take it off the slate.
That's all I want to know. You just need to say 5 and 6. Okay, so 5 and 6. Have all the commissioners had a chance to read 5 and 6? You've had them for a week or so now, maybe a little longer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So everyone feels they're prepared to make a vote to adopt the policy procedures 5 and 6 as written. I'll just do a quick poll. Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carberry is a yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Mr. Joe.
With the grammatical corrections that I gave Bill.
Thank you, sir. As grammatically corrected. I'll make a motion, Mr. Ring. Vice Chair
Earl Donald, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes too. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the new revised policy and procedure sections 5 and 6 as written with the grammatical corrections noted. And I would like to look for a second for that.
Second,
Joe Ring, second.
I think Susan won.
I did. I was first.
Susan's welcome to have it.
Joe, so we got Susan for a second to roll call vote. Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Mr. Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Mr. Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt.
Earl Donald, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. So we've adopted 5 and 6. So we're zipping through these. We hope at the next meeting, we will have the rest ready for you. Remember, we do need a full commissioner quorum to be able to do it. We're going now to B6.
Mr. Chairman, with that, I'm going to leave the meeting.
Mr. Finn, thank you very much for your service. We look forward to meeting and working with you on the policy procedure manual as well as at the airport.
Okay, agreed.
Thanks, Bill. Now we'll move on to B6, which is 4954 Waterman Ave dissolution letter. This really relates to enforcement order SE 42, open parentheses 20-04, close parentheses, for the unpermitted installation of a fence at 4954 Waterman. So this is going to be a disillusionment letter. So I'm going to make a motion. We vote to ratify the disillusionment letter and close out the enforcement order SE 42, open parentheses 20-04, close parentheses. I'd like to look for a second for that without objection.
Art Loggy, second.
Arthur, second. Rick, roll call vote. Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carver, yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Mr. Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Mr. Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. So we got a 7-0 on that bill.
I got it.
Go on to B7, de minimis activity. This is regarding Mount Skirgo Street well. What's in front of the commission, I think most of the commissions have reviewed this quite extensively, is a vote to ratify de minimis activity for the decommissioning of 5 old tile wells with special conditions. Bill, you want to read your special conditions, or you want me to read them?
I got them. Suggested special conditions for this project would be to cut the vegetation to ground level before laying mats and entering the wetlands with backhoe. Discard cut vegetation outside conservation jurisdictional boundaries. That's it.
Correct. This is a public health issue, and it's a pretty straightforward project. Without objection, I would like to make a motion. Without further comment, then I would like to make a motion that we vote to ratify de minimis activity for the decommissioning of the 5 old tile wells at Mount Skirgo Road. I'd like to have a second for that, please.
Second, Rick Carberry.
Rick got that, Bill?
I got it.
Call vote. Commissioner Rick?
Point of order,
Yes. Go ahead.
de minimis. Are we going to do all of them in one vote?
This one we're just going to do separately. That's all.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you, because I've made those mistakes before, as you may know.
I do.
Can I just chime in real quick to the commissioners for just suggestions?
Sure.
I think if you don't do them separately, there will not be that many in general. You fail to have the opportunity to capture the special conditions in a clean, concise way. So I'd recommend individual votes. You'll have less than half a dozen usually.
So Bill, the chairman's going to move forward with, we are going to ratify them with one vote. We'll bring them up, and you can read out the special conditions for each one, but I don't see the need to do like 8 or 9 votes. All right? So we'll move forward. You got the second on that, Bill?
It was Rick.
Correct. So the roll call vote, Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Mr. Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Mr. Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. You capture that 7-0, Bill?
I did. Thank you.
The next one is Webster Plaza. And we're going to put these all together now, Bill. We're going to vote to ratify de minimis activity for work the utility easement area that overlaps slightly the 100 buffer zone with a paved parking lot with special conditions as follows, Mr. Softon.
Yes, on the American Tower project, we want to make sure that they ensure the gate access to parcel ID HO70403 remains open and notify the conservation administrator in advance of project startup date.
Okay, we'll move on to 1400 Ocean Street. We're going to make a vote to ratify de minimis activity for the installation of a gas line at 1400 Ocean Street. Do you have any special conditions for that, Bill?
I don't in this case.
All right, we'll go to 15 Howes Brook. So vote to ratify de minimis activity for the installation of a gas line at 15 Howes Brook Road. Bill, do you have any
No, I don't.
special condition that? Do I have,
Yeah.
that's all of the, I believe the de minimis we have on the agenda this evening?
Correct.
Yep. All right, so we've listed them all out. We've made the special conditions. We did a special call-out vote for the tile wells of Mount Skirgo. These are for the remaining. Without objection from any commissions, I would like to put forward a motion that we accept them with one single vote as per noted in the discussion previous. Any objection? Without objection, then I would like to I'd like to make that motion for a second.
Joe Ring,
Second,
second.
Bert O'Donnell.
I
Okay,
think we've got Joseph.
You can
Joe
give it
Ring.
to Craig.
Roll call vote, Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carver, yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. Okay, please make a note. It is, I'm just calling to call it 7 o'clock, and we have finished the business sessions.
just one quick report for the transcriber. So Chris, there were two separate votes there. In the first one, A was the Mount Skirgo, and then a combined vote of B, C, and D. FYI. So noted. Copy that. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Bill, for the clarification. Now we'll move into the public hearing session. Find my stuff here. First one is
Page 7, continuations.
I'm just catching up. Let me pieces. I'm sure I'll find it sooner or later. Oh, way too many pieces. I don't see my app to read. So that's okay. I will read it. I'll just use this one. And so I'm going to read off, this is for Kent, 53 Kent. This is an RDA. And so in compliance with regulations of Massachusetts General Laws 131, Section 4 of the Wetlands Protection Act, the Code of Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetland Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Tuesday, April 22nd, 6:30 p.m. by Zoom to consider RDA filed by 53 Kent Ave. And the hearing officer is Susan.
This is 53 Kent Ave, as you said, the applicant is Mr. Robert Brait. This is an after-the-fact RDA. Eric Flint, do you know if the taxes and fees have been paid, Mr. Flint? Is he here?
Yep, taxes confirmed 4/8/21, fees were paid in 4/6/21.
Okay, thank you, Eric. So for this RDA, this is for an unpermitted installation of a concrete patio over existing impervious stone within 100 foot of the buffer zone to coastal dune and land subject to coastal storm flowage, partially in VE 13. Is there anyone here to present this present this case? Is it?
Yes, this is Rick Savant with Stenbeck and Taylor.
Yes.
Welcome back, Rick.
Welcome. It's good to be back.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
Hello, everybody. So correct. This property at 53 Kent Ave. Surprisingly, it's not located in a barrier beach. It actually is not located in the flood zone. It's in a zone X. But of course, it is within the buffer zones of 3 different coastal resource areas there. Shallow Marsh Meadow, Barrier Beach, and coastal dune off to the southeast. And as you stated, the homeowner recently purchased this property and began some patio work at the rear of the home. During the course of this work, he was contacted and notified that this work would require a permit. He was asked to file this after the fact RDA for that ongoing work and has done so. Essentially, the work that he took place, the existing patio that surrounded the pool area there was tore up and reconstructed. There was also an existing lawn area to the north of that pool area that was converted to a patio that also is now connected to that, what was the existing patio area around the pool. The new patio area to the north is approximately 1,037 square feet of additional area. The homeowner did take some actions to address any stormwater created by that by installing trench drains. There's actually 2 leaching pits as shown on the plan that are in place now. Patio is also surrounded by a vegetated planting bed that was existing and will remain. That's essentially the work that was in place. The existing patio around the pool was impervious before. It's all obviously impervious now. It's all concrete that's poured there. And I am confident that the homeowner was not aware that he was required to file a permit for this, and certainly wants to fall in line and comply with the regs going forward for this property. So I'll answer any questions you might have on this.
Could I ask a question?
Of course.
All right. Actually, you are correct. I'm looking at the plans that it's the VE on your plans. It says they border VE 13 is just goes right by the property, but not into it. You're correct about that. But one of the question, the impervious table, it shows on your plans that it's a total increase in 1,242 square feet of impervious surface.
That is correct. The new area to the north is 1,037 square feet, and the area to the south was enlarged slightly from what was there, approximately 205 square feet. There used to be a rounded curved corner there. I'm just going from aerial photographs. I don't have any survey information from the previous patio, but from my best estimations, the southerly portion around the pool was increased by about 205 square feet. The corner was squared off, and there was about 2 feet that was extended to the south towards the existing fence that is in Kent Ave. So there was about, like I said, best I can estimate, it was enlarged slightly by about 205 square feet, creating the 1,242 square feet of total increase.
Okay. Given that, that is my main concern, is the increase, that much of an increase in impervious surface without being permitted. Does Bill or Eric, do you have any further comments about this?
Sure. So Mr. Graffin and I visited the neighboring site for a site visit, 54 Kent, when we noticed the work going on at 53 Kent. At the time, we spoke with the construction crew that was there, who put us in contact with the homeowner, Mr. Brait. At the time, our impression was that it was a one-for-one change out of impervious patio in the back. We weren't aware the new impervious patio was being added. And so we advised to file an after-the-fact RDA for this one, for the unpermitted work. After reviewing the site plan and also an older RDA from, I believe, 2019, we can see from photos that the new patio area was previously vegetated lawn, which is now impervious. Conservation Administrator Graffin and I visited the site again after receiving the filing, and we noted that the concrete laying had been completed. We noted that there were still some construction machinery within the patio area, and we also noted that there was patio furniture within the vegetated area just to the rear of the property.
Do you have any photographs of that? I thought Bill had discovered some photographs that we could perhaps share with the commission before we open to comments.
I have to take a couple steps. If the commission is patient, I shall do so.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Right.
Bill, if you're struggling, I can hold these up. It's pretty easy, and I think it'll work.
No, you don't have what I have, Jim. I apologize.
Oh, you have something else? Oh, all right.
These
Yeah,
were
no,
not, they weren't in the initial packet, Jim?
Okay.
this is something new inside of the Rick. Can you tell us what the percentage is of change that we're seeing in the area that was previously in a pervious area? While I'm doing this, I'm sorry to hold everybody up.
There's an 8% increase, which
Not
is
the
a
whole lot.
1,200.
So it looks like it's doubling the it's almost doubling the impervious from before. It's going from 1,200 what I saw to roughly you were at.
It was existing
You're
at
at
1,400. I'm
for the
sorry.
pool. patio, and you're now at 2,645. So that's not quite double, but
Yeah.
it's close to more than 1,200. Would you say that's right, Rick? Square feet?
Yes, it's
1242.
exactly, well, as best I can, it's 1,242 square foot increase.
Okay.
That's,
And the whole property, so it's, commissioners, that pool patio area doubles because half of it was, it was pervious materials previously. That's what is in that outcome of this. All right, so I'm gonna try and share this imagery so that you
So-
have,
If I
Go
can just
ahead.
say, my understanding, unless you have something to prove me wrong, is that the the existing pool patio that was there before was impervious also. It was concrete underneath and it has been replaced with concrete, but it was pervious before. Obviously, the new area was lawn and converted to a patio, impervious patio. But it 1,242 square foot increase is what I'm calculating on that in the buffer zone.
okay. I think just let me have this time to get this, okay? It could be helpful, it might not be.
Can I,
Yeah.
hearing officer, Susan, may I make a comment here?
Yes, please.
So I'm sorry, Rick, I'm having a little bit of a struggle reading these lines. They go away to the right and then they come back. So I see the 50 foot, it goes right through the leaching pit in the new pit patioed area.
Correct.
And then it goes out to the right to where like notes are. And then
Yes.
which one is it when it comes back?
It's
Is it-
off-site. It's
It's the offsite.
right,
one.
Offsite.
yeah, right. It would connect into a V, out where the text is. And it comes back to the south. It's actually off-site.
Gotcha. I see which one it is now. I
Yeah,
got it.
and the 75 just clips the corner of the
Clips the
southeast
corner.
corner of the
All
lot. Yep.
So under the revised regulations, we now have basically we're in 50 and in, right? So the pool's kind of out. The commission to think about, and then we have maybe 2/3 of the new patio area that is within the 50. That's, thank you, Ms. Susan, for letting me make that comment.
So really quickly, because I just got this loaded up, this would be taking a picture from the second story down. You can see the gate and on both sides, pervious cobble. There's 2 vegetated areas on either side. I'll get rid of that one. I'll bring up the other one. Bear with me. Hope to God it doesn't make me go through what I just went through. All right. It didn't. That's good news for everybody. So where are you hiding here? So look at that one. Share this one. This one might be helpful too, just so you get an idea what's going on. So, it's a manicure. Oh, I did the same one. How about that? Sorry. If this happens again, we're done. I brought a picture in and, all right, Marshfield confirmation. I appreciate your patience. So that one didn't work, so let's try that one. Okay, open. Maybe different. Yeah, so you see there was a grass lawn, so it's a manicured lawn. It's stones. In the 50 to 100, there's certain exceptions, but is this going to need to be taken back to impervious? To pervious? Is some of it permittable? This is a commission decision. There can be mitigation in other parts of the property. That's where I would have gone had I picked this up earlier. And we definitely have the evidence here. So early on in the process, Rick, it looked like a 1-for-1 change out, as Eric really well explained. And, this is news to us and it's the right thing to do. So the question is, will the commission accept what's being presented as is, or with special conditions, or require it to be removed? That's sort of it.
So is this the location where the new patio is?
Yeah, this is on the opposite side, Rick. This is looking out towards Wrexham Terrace here. All right.
This is where the new patio area went in, correct, Bill?
That is correct.
Okay.
And the
Yeah,
first
that's
gate-
correct. that stone buffer there that's shown by the fence is still in place. It still looks very much similar to that. Basically, the lawn area, just the grass area is where the patio is now. But the perimeter stone and vegetation is still in place.
And then
Along with the fence and the retaining walls. Looks pretty much like it does there, but the grass has been converted.
Thank you, Rick Caron. Rick Carberry, Commissioner, just quickly, the first picture was the gate, and to the left over is basically this, what you're looking at. I just didn't get enough pictures, you know.
Was this a property that was recently permitted and reconstructed?
No,
Work
no.
around the pool?
This was the one when we got the complaint about the pathway going through the dune. And Mr. Senate did a after the fact RDA for that path you saw earlier. And I took some pictures then. I didn't realize I'd be coming back for this, but at the time I took the pictures.
Okay.
Now, if you remember from the first picture I showed, I don't want to keep pulling it back up. There is an area there that's buffer to the coastal dune, which the coastal dune buffer 100 foot is right up there with the salt marsh 100 foot. It's one of the most important buffer zones. And it's not really well vegetated. It's kind of weedy grasses, etc. So one way of dealing with this is to consider mitigation, but we'd have to require it. And you don't have the teeth of a notice of intent here because it's an after the fact RDA. So it would require some degree of faith in the fact that the mitigation will go forward. I'm only saying that because we're doing this on the fly.
Can I make a comment now, please? And then I'll take in the rest of the commissioners. My concern about this is that if we saw this as an NOI, would we have permitted all this impervious surface? Would we have necessarily allowed this? So that's the question I ask myself and how I want to see this conclude, either with mitigation or perhaps an NOI. With that, I'll put it to the commissioners. Do people have other comments?
Well, this is Rick. It's a pretty big increase in impervious space. I'm not so sure we would have allowed this.
Exactly.
Is my gut feeling. And maybe not to be prescriptive, but along the lines of what Bill was recommending, is there a place on the footprint of the property that can provide some mitigation, some plants, some seagrass, or something that's appropriate to kind of offset all the increase in impervious space. The driveway is pretty good size too.
Anyone else? Any other commissioners?
Yeah, this is Art. I agree with what Rick said. I don't think it would have been approved. And I'm not sure mitigation will be a solution. I mean, I'd ask other commissioners on that. Seems to me it should be removed.
My comment would be, the paved drive is mostly outside of 100, so I don't feel that's in front of us right now. I believe if this had come in front of us as an NOI, we would have asked for pervious materials. Could have been the same project, but it would have been pervious pavers rather than a solid slab. Question for Rick. Number one, what year was the house built? And number two, these leaching pits that it shows, are these dry wells for the downspouts, or do they have any function to do with the patios?
They have trench drains in the patio. There's surface trench drains in the patio to collect runoff from the patio. They do collect a roof drain off the east end of the house, but their intention is to collect stormwater runoff created by the patio. There was nothing there prior, so when they were redoing it, they decided that it would be good to put those in. So they're dry wells to collect that stormwater created by the patio. And I'm looking up when the house was built, Bert, to answer your question.
I just looked it up for you, Rick, just to kind of fast track it. I've got 1987 as per the Patriot Properties.
Yeah. That would
So-
be my.
15
what I
years
would have
after the
estimated.
accident. Um, I think just a point of order for the commissioners. We saw everything on this property when Senate came through in 2019. So probably the area to target is the area you're looking at, the vegetated area in front of the gate and all that. It's pervious. And to Art and Bert's point, and Susan's, the concept of pervious has really become echoed out. You don't have this as a flood zone, but you do have it as a buffer to dune and a buffer to that marsh over there you're looking at. So
Administrator Grafton, I think the hearing officer has us in the commissioner discussion period. I think you articulated most of those items before.
What I'd like to do is, it seems like we have people here that are not in favor of this RDA as it is. So I think what we should do is poll the group and see how people feel, if people would like to accept this RDI or require an NOI to come back, or I guess that would be my only suggestion, is to come back with an NOI with either a new new patio impervious or mitigation. So we have a couple of questions.
Commissioner Susan, may I make a quick comment here?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, thank you. Normally I'd try to be so flexible on something like this, but it's almost doubling the impervious. I mean, we can see where it is, okay? That's something we're really trying very hard not to do. I understand, as Rick said, and I take that at face value, that they didn't realize they couldn't do that. But if you buy in a piece of property like that, you might realize you're in resource areas just by buying it. And we're a pretty active conservation commission. So we've got a fairly high level of awareness. I agree with Commissioner Arthur and maybe some others, maybe Rick said it. We probably would have given this, but we would wanted it to have that pervious there. And I don't see how adding plants fixed the problem that we doubled our impervious. I don't know, Commissioner Susan, how we do this with an NOI. We could do an after the fact NOI, or we could just enforce, if the commission wants to have it removed, put those order conditions down and do it that way. You might ask the administrator if he has a view on that.
Yeah, thank you. Bill, how would you like to conclude? What would you like to see happen, and so that we can tailor a vote so that we can come to a conclusion on this quickly?
excellent question, Madam Hearing Officer. I would say that, when I first arrived, and I'm not going to go that far back, I arrived saying, you have to force me to enforce. I don't think this is ready for enforcement. These people bought this property. We're using a 2018 existing permit that they thought was okay.
Right.
Building didn't necessarily at the time add us in. These things happen. I immediately contacted the building commissioner, and I coordinated a number of things going on in this property. We're working very concurrently. I want to emphasize that now. We have picked this up. The question is, do we have them get this out of there and turn this into impervious, or do we take the area that's in front of the gate that I showed you in the prior and vegetate it so it's sturdy? The dune itself is
Bill, the question is pathway to move forward. After the fact NOI or enforcement in your view? That's the question.
Yeah, I think the after the fact NOI will give you teeth because there'll be a lien on the property. And
okay, that's your interest. Can we keep moving? Can we keep moving here?
Yes. Any comments from anyone else on the commission that we missed?
Susan, I just have one more comment. Any mitigation would have to take place on the property. When Bill talks about in the dune, that's actually off the lot.
Correct.
Good point, Bert. So
my answer would be same as what you've already spoken about, is come back with an NOI. And the pool area, there was something there before. I'm not sure, but the new area, I think that should be pervious or modifications to make it more pervious.
Can I just throw one thing in? I think, oh, it's a road. Ah, shoot. I thought it was town-owned property but it's a road, so I don't know what you can do with it.
Yeah,
But that won't
My
affect whether we
inclination-
go with an NOI or not. We don't need to fix that now.
We don't need, my inclination is also to request, to look for an NOI and request the use of impervious pavers. And perhaps that could be half of the in just the new area, but that can be discussed. So what I'd like to do is poll the group and see if people agree with going back with an NOI, and then we can have a vote on that.
Susan, may I make a suggestion, just in
Yeah.
the interest of time? I think we have a pretty good feeling where the commission is through discussion. You
I
could
agree.
probably make a motion and probably achieve it.
Gotcha. Yep. So I would like to make a motion to deny this request for determination of applicability and request that
Could I-
they,
Sorry, could I just modify that I probably, Madam Hearing Officer, you stick with the +5 for the bylaw. And
okay, yes, I was going to ask you that. Okay,
yeah, and introduce +1 requiring a notice of intent,
perfect. +5 for the bylaw and a +1.
requiring the filing of a notice of intent.
Thank you, Mr. Grafton. So at this point, I will make a motion to deny the RDI with a +5 for the bylaw, a +1 requiring refiling an NOI. Do I have a second?
Second, Joe Ring.
And
Okay, that's Joe Ring. We'll give it to him. Commissioner Craig Hannafin,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Commissioner Art Lagi,
Art Lagi, yes.
Commissioner Rick Carberry,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Commissioner Joe Ring,
Joe Ring, yes.
Vice Chairman Bert O'Donnell,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Chairman Jim Kilcoyne,
Joe Clancy, yes.
and Susan Karen, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Good work, team. I will make a note that we are now at 7:25. Now we're moving on to 31 Branch Street in compliance with regulations of Massachusetts General Laws 131, Section 4 of the Wetlands Protection Act, the Code of Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetland Protection. A public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Thursday, April 22nd, 2021, 6:30 p.m. by Zoom to consider this is an RDA?
Oh, shit. This is an NOI.
This is an NOI. To consider an
Yeah.
NOI for 31 Branch Street, and the hearing officer is Arthur.
All right. Bill or Eric, confirm the taxes. been
Yep, I
paid,
got one.
notified and so forth, a file
Yep,
number.
taxes are paid on 4/8/21, butters notified on 4/14/21. DEP file number 4/14/21. Gatehouse media fees and filing fees on 4/6/21. Legal ad was sent, actually published on 4/14/21.
Thank you very much. This is an addition, construction or reconstruction of a garage and a deck. And the resource area is land subject to coastal storm flowage, flood zone, and the buffer zone is the salt marsh coastal bank. So is there someone here to present the proposal?
I am Mr. Largy, Terry McGovern from Stenbeck and Taylor.
Go ahead, Terry.
Okay, Bill, if you can allow me to share screen, I can make this very quick.
Okay, copy that. Hang on. Let's see, what am I supposed to do? I think I make you a co-host there. Yes. All right.
Okay, I'm sharing. I'm not sure if you can see it yet.
Yep.
Okay. All right, very briefly, this is an older single-family house in just south of Brant Rock on Branch Street. And what the applicant, Mr. Kiley, would like to do is to close in a rear corner of the house. And I'll also pull up a picture and make sure that I'm sharing that as well. This is the rear view of the house, slightly taller main portion of the house, single story, kind of a wing in the rear. And this corner to the right side as you're standing behind the house looking across the street at the salt marsh is the area that he would like to enclose and match the roof line to the existing house. And then simply reconstruct the deck across the back in the same location. It's not coming out any further. And then he would like to take down this existing garage that is over at the edge of the property and enlarge it very slightly in such a way that you can actually put a vehicle inside of it. Right now, you really can't. So it would be about 2 feet wider and about 4 feet longer, basically 12 by 22, so that you can put a vehicle in it. He's not proposing to pave the driveway or do anything in that area. The addition will be a 2-story addition, so we'd like to close that in and put flood vents in it. And the reason for that is because that addition is going to hold on the first and second floor a bathroom and all of the plumbing, which is a very small bathroom that's in that little existing wing right now. So we want to make sure we're able to insulate that area so we don't have an issue with pipes freezing. So it will be provided with flood vents. And again, the deck will go back in the same place, just slightly larger. That can be on sonotube, and no proposal to pave the driveway. Very straightforward proposition from the applicant. And I can take any questions from the commission and the public.
I don't have any, Terry. Bill, you have comments? Bill? I think we may have lost Bill. Bill is muted.
Seems to have disappeared. We'll just maybe
Yeah.
we'll carry on and we can get his
Yeah,
comments
let
after
me-
the commissioners.
Let me ask if any other commissioners have any questions?
All right, Joe Ring.
Go ahead,
Do
Bill.
we have a ruling from the building department whether or not this is a substantial renovation by their definition?
I don't believe we do. It doesn't look like it is, but that's a good point, and probably should get that clarified. I did consider that, but I don't think it is, but it would be good to get that clarified. Bill, you're back. Do you have comments on this? Joe just raised the question on whether or not we have any clarification from building, whether
Yeah.
this is substantial or not.
No, we don't. We haven't reached out. I think the applicant could do that.
So I would, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a point here as we go forward, that in my opinion, that when these questions, if we have them up, that these be answered before it comes to the committee, so we don't have to go back.
I thoroughly agree with that, Arthur.
Okay. So, Bill, do you have any other comments?
Yeah, we have a new standard on foundation requirements.
You're breaking up, Bill. I don't know why.
Now, am I better?
Yes.
Better.
Is it? Okay. We have project-specific standards now, performance standards. We have 505-307.2 foundation requirements. Substantially renovated or reconstructed structures, that'll be the question. On area barrier beach, no. Coastal dune, no. Buffer to coastal beach, no. Or buffer to salt marsh, yes. Are required to be constructed on an open pile type foundation. So the question is, would this be considered substantially renovated or reconstructed structure to the commission? And it's in the buffer to salt marsh.
So that's the question, and we're not going to be able to answer that ourselves. Therefore, it would seem like we need clarification from the building.
Art,
Yeah,
I've got a question for Terry.
go ahead. Terry.
Yeah, Terry, I noticed that this project is also in front of the ZBA. When does that hearing take place?
That should be on next Tuesday, I believe.
And that would, the building commission would rule on this at that point, right?
Yes.
Okay, then it seems to me the best way forward would be to table this and to bring it, to continue it and bring it back at the next meeting. May I have a second?
Hey, Arthur, can we have a little more commissioner discussion on this if possible, Arthur?
Of course, and I also have not asked for community comment. So yes, other commissioners, go ahead.
Yeah, so Terry, this is gonna have an enclosed foundation with vents, right?
Yes.
This is in the V zone, correct?
No, it is not.
It's not in the V zone?
It is not. It is internal. It is on Branch Street off of Island Street.
Oh, okay, I thought it was in a VE 13 or something.
Nope. No, it isn't.
Okay, well, that's great.
It's in an AE zone.
So it's just land subject to coastal flowage, storm flowage?
Yes, and the applicant did have discussions with Andrew. If we were rising to the threshold of substantial improvement, we would be then lifting the entire structure.
Right. And
Right, that's the important point, I think, Terry.
right, so also, we are at the whole project outside the 75?
Yes, it is.
The whole project's outside the 75. It's owning land subject to coastal storm flowage. If you look at the matrix for building codes, Arthur, to help you through this, within the V zone, it's not even in with a V zone, within the coastal dune, it's not in a coastal dune. I don't think substantial, non-substantial would affect any type of the regulatory outcome for this, quite frankly, Arthur, that I can see. It's outside the 75. The garage is, I don't know, 90 to 130. I personally don't have an issue with it. We've got about 9 continued hearings, as the vice chair brought up. It is going before building, Arthur. We could do this subsequent to passage from the building next week. I'm just offering alternatives.
Well, we're subject, our conditions always say that we have to conform to all other requirements anyway. So I'm with Jim. I think we can move ahead on this, Art.
Okay.
But Arthur, you're right. I do not want to have things in front of us on our agenda that doesn't have, when there could be a 10-minute discussion over substantial or not. All right, we need to have that clarified, Arthur, as you say, before it's put in front of us.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm willing to actually support that. I think the idea is that if there are open questions, it just seems to me that you would continue, but I do understand Bert's point and Jim, your point. So it would be, if we moved forward and take a vote on this, it would be contingent upon these other things happening.
So,
Right.
Mr. Hearing Officer, I employ a couple minutes. So there were 2 resource areas involved here: the buffer zone of the salt marsh, and you have the land subject to coastal storm flowage. There's also the buffer to the coastal bank, less important. And be it the 75 or not, the building matrix does not apply here because you're not in a coastal dune environment, so that's out.
All right.
I'm going to finish, please.
Are you
real
just
quick.
confirming the vote we're already going to take, Bill?
Confusion created. I just want to make sure everything's clean. The building commissioner at all times in all flood zones will be looking at substantial in general. And
Bill,
that's a separate.
I'd like to move this hearing along. All right, we're 40 minutes into it. We're barely into our second.
So let me ask, please, if there are any other comments brought by commissioners. Anyone from the public? Okay, hearing none, then I think I'm going to, Bill, I asked for your comments. I'm going to make a motion that we close this hearing.
Okay.
and go with conditions. Would you like to go through them?
Sure, I prepared conditions. All the typical interiors register both, 1 second here. Register both sets of orders with the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds and provide the evidence to the Conservation Office and posting a Mass DEP sign. Follow pertinent Marshfield bylaws, obtain all subsequent permits. Ensure the erosion controls in place, do not use hay. Observe 310 CMR 10.05 that no work should commence until all applicable periods have elapsed. Coordinate pre-construction site visit, site meeting with the conservation administrator or agent. During construction, ensure that best management practices, current NFIP, FEMA regulations and building codes are followed. Ensure the footprint of the subsurface remains open or use coverage only. 3, post-construction of the work, provide an elevation certificate. Ensure the footprint of the subsurface remains open or use pervious coverage only. This remains in perpetuity. Okay. And I think, Mr. Hearing Officer, we need some kind of caveat about not letting this start until we have a final approved plan by all these other entities that you were discussing. So I'd like to go back to D1 and try to introduce that quickly. Provide the final approved plan by other departments.
Please state the other departments. You're talking about building and zoning.
By other pertinent departments, because there may be a billion and I don't want to have to sit here for 20 minutes and look them up. So other pertinent departments, okay?
Bill, pertinent or permitting?
Pertinent permitting departments.
Okay.
Before commence work. And this is because we didn't get it.
Would a
solid.
valid permit, would a valid building permit cover that? I think it would.
think it would.
So trust me on this. If you're a commissioner, you want me to have.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
You want a final solid plan, design freeze. That's the only way I can think of doing it with this.
Bill, let's go.
So are you saying all pertinent?
Provide the final approved plan by all other permit departments before commencing the work, okay?
Thank you.
Okay,
That'll lock it up.
good. All right, I'm going to
Yep.
make a motion that we close and issue the orders of conditions, these special conditions that Bill just read through. May I have a second?
Second for Joe Ring.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, let's go to a vote. Rick,
Rick Carver, yes.
Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes?
Bert,
Bert O'Donnell, yes?
Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
and Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
and Jim,
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes.
and Art Loggy's a yes. 700.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Arthur. All right, so we're moving on now to 167 Planting Fields Road in compliance to regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section Wetlands Protection Act, the Code of Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetland Protection. Public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Thursday, April 22nd by Zoom to consider a notice of intent filed by 167 Planting Field Roads. And the hearing officer is Arthur. Did you win again?
I won again, but my understanding is we don't have everything in and this is going to be continued. Bill?
Okay, so for the update, Mr. Hearing Officer, thank you for the question. The taxes have been paid, the abutters have been notified. We did verify that. The file number was filed, provided on April 15, 2021. The fees for the Gatehouse Media and the filing fees on April 6, 2021. Legal ad was published on 4/14/21. So you're all set, Mr. Hearing Officer.
Okay, so that's a bit of a surprise to me. Because the last I had earlier was that this was going to be continued.
Well,
You
they
know,
got.
it was for Natural Heritage, Bill.
Yeah, no, I read you the administrative requirements. They're cleared. It still needs to continue because the MISA review is underway and you don't have the comments back and they won't be back for, I just heard, up to 90 days.
So as I said, I thought this was going to be continued, and it sounds like it should be continued.
Yes.
So I'm making a motion that we continue this. Is it reasonable for the next meeting, Bill?
I wasn't given that kind of direction. I have to look and see if I have printed out the email from the applicant's representative. I think he said the next hearing. Bear with me.
Yeah, but if it's the next hearing, Bill, and we're not gonna hear back from MISA for another 2 months.
Yeah, but you can't do that. It can't do that unless they agree to it. So you have to go with what they sent you. So bear with me and let me get it for you.
Well, if we have
Do you have a
21 days,
date certain? I'll give you the date certain in a second, please. Bear with me. I'm sorry, I'm slow. What is this? Planning fields?
you have 5-4 here.
Do I? So then that might be right.
You have 5-4
Yeah,
here.
5-4.
I'm looking at it.
Correct.
Five, four it is. It's confirmed.
All right, so I make a motion that we continue this hearing until 5/4. May I have a second?
Second, Craig Hannafin.
Thanks, Craig. Rick,
Rick Carver, yes.
Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Bert,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Jim,
Bill Klein is a yes.
Art Log is a yes, 700.
Who was the second, please?
Yeah,
Craig.
was, Craig.
Got it. Thank you. All right, we'll catch up with these guys later.
Thank you, Commissioner Arthur. We'll now move on to Cutter 10 South Street. We're not reading the legal ad on this one, and I believe we have a recuse on this from, is it Joe?
Noah Mullen.
Yes, what I mean. Okay, so you're doing a Mullen, not a recuse.
Yes.
Sorry, I misspoke. So you've read all the information, viewed it to comply with the Mullen?
And viewed the videos, yes.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, so we solved that legally. And so I'm going to turn that over to Vice Chair Burt.
Okay, thank you. I see Mr. McGovern here. You have some revised information for us. Would you like to present it?
Yes, I do, Mr. Vice Chair. I'll check first to see if you can see the plan that I just put up, if Bill has continued to let me share screen. Can everybody see?
I have it. Do the other commissioners?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So to clarify things a little bit, we made a couple of slight revisions to the plan just to give you a little better visual sense of site coverages. The upper box on this plan shows the coverages with the house being enclosed as the impervious area, the pavers to one corner, a small grass area and some existing parking, and as a stone driveway that comes down the west side of the property. And by elevating this on piers, what the applicants would like to do is to extend that paver area, which we've added a detail on, showing the sand bed underneath, a typical concrete paver cross section. They'd like to extend that underneath a portion of this in order to be able to park on and use some of that area just to place lawn furniture on, etc. We also have a structural detail from the engineer who designed the support system, the concrete piers. And the discussion we had the last time was the reasoning for the concrete piers. While we do understand that wood pilings would normally be the preferred option in this location, we've got a couple of things working against us. We have no place to move the house laterally, so it has to be lifted. I did a little bit of research on the larger helical piles that are required to support a structure of this size and to place it some roughly 7 feet in the air. And you're basically left with the same option that you have with pile driving in it. you now need an excavator or a fairly large machine with an attachment in order to reach up above that 7 foot in order to screw the piles into the ground. So that leaves you in basically in the same place as trying to place a piling rig, a driving rig for piles, in that you don't have a place to move the house. Most of the, if you were doing new construction, not a problem. That would be the clear choice. A lot of the applications that you see for these helical piles, at least around when you're working with existing structures, is when you can crib the house up maybe no more than 7 or 8 feet and move around underneath it with like a mini excavator or a bobcat sized machine, that you can actually put these helical piles in that are in about 4-foot sections, and then they actually bolt together. So that's your rationale with it being an existing structure. It's not really an option, unfortunately. New construction, yes. Lower level or something like an addition or a deck, absolutely. More than happy to use them. But in this case, it's not going to be, we're not going to be able to do it. We're not altering the existing house other than to add the stairs going up. And the goal is to flood proof it. It's an area that gets washed through, as has happened in other parts of that area. I will state for the record, the house right next door is on wood pilings, but it was new construction. And if I go just the other side of the sub tower, there are 3 houses that we permitted after the no-name storm, all sitting on concrete piers of a similar nature to this. So again, I'll send it back to the commission for comments and questions, but again, the goal here is to flood proof an existing home.
Okay, Terry, thank you. That's pretty similar to what you explained previously. But now you have submitted, you've got 3 pages stamped by a professional engineer, correct?
Yes.
And, but we don't have his cover letter. Does he talk about the options, or only that this is a suitable foundation?
I think he's talking more about the loading than anything else. As I'm looking at his cover letter, he's just saying that the design sketches are sufficient for permitting.
Yeah, I mean, this is better than what we had, but I thought what we asked for was an engineer's opinion, that this was the better alternative. But taking that, I'd like to open it up for Bill's comments on this.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Vice Chair. So, Terry, is this in a barrier beach?
It's not in, let me back up on that. I just want to open the NOI piece, if I may. Hang on 1 second. Yes, that portion of South Street shows on GIS, right around the area of the sub tower. That area does show as Barrier Beach.
Okay, so it's Barrier Beach Coastal Dune. How come that's not on the plan?
You have it in the diagram in the notice of intent.
Yeah, but it's not on the plan, is it?
The whole area, is it? No, it's not on the plan.
Correct.
Flood
Okay.
zone is on, the flood zones, applicable flood zones are on there.
Yep. Then the next question is, which flood zone are we showing? The 2016 or the 2020?
You have the 2020. That is the, hold on, let me get back to the plan. Yeah, you're actually in the AO, you're still in the AO flood zone, the AE, that did not change. You have an AE 12 that is just off to the west of the property, but we're still in the AO 1 to 3 feet.
Yep. Terry, could I ask you to scoot over? Oh, actually, you don't have to go anywhere. Under the zoning, I'll put the attention of the commissioners. It says the locus is located in flood zone. 1 second, I gotta let somebody in. Flood zone, AO depth 3 feet is shown on firm map 25023C, blah, 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 dated revised November 4, 2016. So it's not the current one. The current one actually shows the AE flood zone nicking 2 edges of the property. I spoke to the building commissioner about that, and he said he would take the feedback of a professional land surveyor or registered professional engineer because that's so close. And I said, I understand, but we don't have that data on here. So this is Barrier Beach Coastal Dune. We are in flood zone, no question. Therefore, the building matrix also applies, no footings in coastal beach barrier zone, Barrier Beach.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
You are elevating the structure above the AE 12. For the record, right now your existing top of foundation is 10.6, and that AE 12 just to the west of us on the adjacent properties through House 244, that AE 12, we're going up to, we have a schedule of elevations here that show that the bottom of the beam is going up to 17 and the top of the beam 18, the finished floor 19. So we're going above that AE 12 flood zone, irregardless.
Okay, so Terry, sorry to interrupt you, but so you are the surveyor.
Yes.
The majority of this lot is within the AO. So you're meeting the standard of elevation for the clear 3 feet for the overwash, and also you're elevating to the higher standard of the VE in front of it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it's definitely it's something that, this is a repetitive loss area. I think it's in the town's best interest to let this house get elevated. I've looked at our 505s. We call for open piles. The 505 doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I don't see any mention of the footings that we were concerned about. That's all within the building code matrix. So I would like to go back to I believe the building commissioner would have jurisdiction on this. I see it more as a safety issue than environmental on this particular house in this particular location.
So
Bill, let's stay with the commissioners right now, Bill.
I'm sorry, Jim. I would like Bill's very quick comment.
Okay.
So just your points, very well summarized, Mr. Vice Chair. The footings, I think, are environmental. If the house gets ripped out, the dune gets torn up, and that's the reason you don't have the footings. That's
Okay, I understand, Bill. That's your opinion. Is there anything else that you have, very briefly?
The 2.8 sea level consideration, people have struggled with that. I don't know if you need it or not, but it is a standard that you require. This is building to classic NFIP FEMA firm, 1 foot above the footage that's required above the AO. The commission asked for 2.8 consideration. I don't know how you want to deal with that, but that might be something you have to factor in also.
Bill, if I'm 7 feet in the air, I think that's more than 2.8.
No, I agree with you, Terry. I just want to make sure the 2.8 is covered in general. That's it.
Okay, Bill, I'd like to let the commissioners weigh in on this.
Vice Chair Burt, may I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
I understand exactly what Bill's saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. But we've spent about 15 minutes on this now. And I go back to the original thing. We asked to have the proper, I believe last time, we talked about having the proper, is it FEMA or whatever, what it is, Terry, 18 or 20, whenever it is. We did get that corrected. And we specifically asked for an engineer to give us a letter telling us what the alternatives were. It doesn't mean this can't go through, but what we specifically asked for, we don't have again. That's my comments on this.
Other commissioners?
I'll note that my conversations with the gentleman who stamped the.
Terry, this is a closed commission session, if you would. The commission asked for a stamp, not a conversation of someone that doesn't have the proper stamp to convey that. We have no idea what that is. That's total hearsay.
Yeah, this is Art. I think I was the one that asked that we get the engineer to weigh in on this.
Okay, and you've seen those drawings. You're not satisfied with that?
I'm not certain that this has an engineer weighed in on that. I'm not sure of that. It doesn't look like it.
That, it's got a PE stamp on it.
Analysis, Bert.
Terry, could you put those pages up?
Yeah.
But we didn't get alternative analysis. He just said that holds the load. We know it holds the load. We wanted to know if there's any other options by an engineer. That was the whole crux of the continuance.
Wasn't a builder's opinion.
Again, you have the letter that I submitted along with his. If you don't want my part of it from having the conversation with him, that's fine. I can have him write the same letter. But my letter covering the revisions basically summarizes that. If you want it with his name on it, we can provide that. That's fine.
Yes, I understand that, and I feel that we're going to get that one way or another. Other commissioners, are there any other opinions?
Bert, Joe Ring. We were specific in what we asked for, and I think we should get what we asked for. I agree that Terry knows what he's talking about. One of the things that we were trying to challenge, what we were trying to deal with is compliance with our new 505s. And those were pretty specific. And this was the third choice on the list. How do we justify not going with number one or number two?
Well, actually, not to debate, but I've gone through the 505s and I don't, we spoke about that last meeting, but I don't actually see that listed anywhere, choices. It calls for open piles, to allow the overwash to flow through. But I hear three commissioners want the letter with the engineer's opinion stating that. In addition, or actually from my standpoint, I'd be more concerned about the building commissioner's opinion on this, because that matrix that we're trying to adhere to is the subject matter expert on that. I don't believe the Conservation Commission should get too deep into structural engineering. I know I'm not qualified to do it. I don't know about the rest of you. Are there any other commissioners that would like to weigh in on this?
Bert, Susan Karen, Bert, I agree completely with you. I don't feel qualified to vote on this. I think that we need to be in communication and have the building department agree and certify this in addition to the engineer's letter for us to take a vote. It feels like this is a structural issue in addition to environmental.
Yeah,
okay.
Bert, this is Rick. I mean, I can, my only comment would be, I've personally used this Victor Pope individual to do structural weight bearing analysis in a home project a few houses ago. That's that organization in Hingham. So he's been doing this sort of work for many, many years and had done many other projects that I'm aware of, around the neighborhood. But But, you know, I don't think we're not qualified either to make a call on a structural situation.
Okay, I think I've heard from most of the commissioners. Is there anybody else?
Or could I just make a final comment? I won't say anymore, I promise.
Okay,
Terry, just so there's no confusion, we're not looking for the engineer to say that the cement pilings are able to hold the load. What we're looking for is an alternative analysis on new revised 505s state that we want pilings all the time, right? That's what we want. But we're a quasi judicial agency, so commission. So we are able then, if we can't achieve the goal, to go through alternative analysis to the least impactful. So we want to know alternative analysis, not that it just holds the load, because I'm sure the engineer can do a load analysis. Okay, Terry?
Here's part of the answer you're going to get, and this is not.
Yeah, but we don't have to discuss it, Terry. We just want the
Terry,
letter.
I think we're at a point that we can move this along. Sorry to interrupt you. At this point, I'd like to open it up for, I think, are all commissioners finished?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else? Any public comment? Is there anybody for the public that would like to comment on this? I hear none. I'd like to make a motion that we continue this hearing. And the information that we're further requesting is the analysis by the engineer that Jim Kilcoyne just laid out. Also revision of the drawing to include this is Barrier Beach. And also, Terry, I recommend that you, if the determination is helical piles not to be used here, I take that off the drawing so that we eliminate confusion there.
Bert, can I add your punch list? Terry, Barrier Beach Coastal Dune, and the correct FEMA firm. Also, you just find that you have a little bit of AE. There's flexibility because the building commissioner is a subject matter expert, will take your opinion on this.
Okay, Bill, I missed that. I want the building commissioner to weigh in on this. Is that what you said?
I was just completing your punch list for him. You wanted that part also, so.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion for the continuance. I'd like to get input from Terry about when you would want to continue to. I believe we're very close to moving this forward. I want this to get done. I think we can wrap it up. So what works for you?
Next hearing.
Next hearing. So I've made a motion to continue until next hearing with the information requested. Have I got a second?
Joe Ring, second.
Thank you, Joe. Roll call vote. Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Art,
Art Lagi, yes.
Rick,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Jim,
Jim Kilcoyne, yes.
and I'm a yes, so it's unanimous, Bill. Continue to the next hearing.
Copy.
Thank you, Terry.
Sorry, that's me. And Cutter South. Yeah. What are we doing with this 13 Brewster?
The taxes are not paid still.
So
And
we're gonna open this and we're just gonna continue, right?
Is there a DWAP involved?
There could be. There should have been a DWAP involved in the last one because blatantly we did not have the information we wanted and requested, and we talked about it for 20 minutes. Yeah, we don't have the taxes paid. We have to stop all these continuances being on agendas that shouldn't be here. Do we have someone here that has a Mullen?
Joe Ring has a Mullen.
Okay, Joe, you've completed that for us?
Yes.
Thank you, Joseph. All right, so I'm not gonna do the legal ad, so I'm gonna make the motion that we continue this. What do you want for date certain on this, Bill?
Nobody told me. I gotta go back and I guess look at the file real quick. I thought it
No.
was, no, I'm sorry, May 4th was the continuation.
You want a May 4th continuation on the 13 Brewster? Okay, I'll so note it. May 4th or 5th?
May 4th, I have.
May 4th, okay, May 4th. All right, so I'll make a motion that we continue this hearing for lack of taxes being paid to a date certain of May 4th and a charge of a first denial without prejudice count 1 of a second.
Just to make sure the motion's clear, they actually asked for, I'm sorry, Jim, it's just to make it clear. They did ask for the May 4th date, but they have not been paying, the tax has not been paid. So this is like the third hearing now that we're facing without the taxes paid, and they may not be paid again. We don't know. So.
Well, we just went through that at a previous one, and you said that was what they requested. That is, so they requested that. You told me we have to do it last time, so we have to do it again this time, so we don't need the comment, right? That's what they requested.
Right, they did request it, but they
Okay,
didn't.
so I'm gonna make a motion.
All right.
We continue this to May 4th for taxes paid. They may not be paid next time. We understand that. And charged with 1 count of the denial without prejudice. Looking for a second.
Second, Joe Ring.
Joseph got it, Bill.
I do see that. I'm writing it down.
Oh, okie dokie. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Rick.
Rick Carber, yes.
Mr. Craig.
Craig Hennepin, yes.
Mr. Arthur.
Arlagi, yes.
Joe.
Joe Ring, yes.
Vice Chair Burt.
But O'Donnell, yes.
Sorry, Commissioner Susan.
Susan Karen, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. So we have a 700, Bill.
Right, with Art doing the second. Very good. And a DWAP charge. All right.
That's correct. Okay, we're moving on now to 805, 77 Cherry Street. And I'm not going to read the legal ad, and we're going to move on. And the hearing officer is Joseph.
I believe this one was picked up by Susan because I took a day off.
No,
Craig.
I took this
Ah,
one.
Craig. Thank you, Craig.
Commissioner Craig.
Yep.
And I did send you the thank you note, and I forgot that. Thank you.
Anytime. Is someone here to present? We have a new plan with some changes.
Yes, this is Rick Savant with Stenbeck and Taylor, Commissioner.
Okay, please go ahead.
So quickly, 77 Cherry Street, we've changed the foundation type from a strip wall to wood-driven wooden piles for the new structure. And we've added several conservation markers along the property lines, 6 in total, standard town of Marshfield conservation markers. We've also included 8 3 to 4 foot eastern red cedars that we will attach placards to in various areas around the property. That's the revisions to this plan that you have in front of you.
Thank you.
Right.
Comments, Bill?
Oh, yeah.
Craig,
very
before we
well.
get too far, I'd like to admit that I did sign and fulfill the requirements for a Mullen on this one.
Okay,
Right, duly noted. So for the scribe, we have 4 Mullins for Commissioner Ring. You need to help me capture all of them. Thank you. This is one of them. All right. So my comments would be this is much improved. I thought that that there might be a need for additional conservation markers along the property the next door. I think it's 89 Cherry. It runs all the way to Joseph Drybeck. The individual there has been practicing cutting the salt marsh, and because it's a ongoing practice, it's allowed. It's not to be introduced now, but it's been ongoing. So the markers that are near wetland flag 11, Rick, should, in my opinion, could extend out to the property end there. That would help tremendously. I thought additionally that the markers near wetland flag 2, 3, 5, and looks like it's near 6 might also benefit from adding on green and white, because the town-owned property to the south there is conservation land. I was a little concerned about putting the markers on the trees in general. Some of them might die. It's a good idea, I think, Rick, very novel. But I would say that because they're putting these in, that because of this tight environment, that rather than 75% succession, we should be looking at 100% succession on these. Excuse me. I also thought that we might want to put up some posts in the vicinity of the isolated vegetative wetland over there, temporary posts with line in between them during the construction period, so that the vehicles won't dump dirt or break trees or, dispose of materials temporarily over there and cause a mess within the resource area that'll be very difficult to recover from. I think those are my primary comments on this. Much improved, though.
Thank you, Mr. Grafton. Do other commissioners have comments?
On here.
Go ahead. I'll go after.
I share Bill's concern about the possible failure of the red cedars. I would like to see just markers. If they want to plant trees next to them, great. But I think that's we risk losing those markers if the trees die.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Yes.
I'd like a quick comment.
Sure.
I am fine with this project as is. If the commissioners want to take it off a cedar and put it on a PT post, the cedar will probably last dead for 50 years longer than a PT post, but whatever way the commission wants to do it, but I'm fine with the project as it is. I think it's a nice improvement. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who has a comment? Hearing none, I would move that we close this hearing with special conditions. Bill, can you give us those?
Yeah, Rick, they're standard. Register the orders, post a Mass DEP sign, follow all pertinent Marshfield bylaws, obtain all subsequent permits, make sure the erosion control is in place. Applicant shall observe the 310 CMR 1005, that no work shall commence until all applicable administrative appeal periods have elapsed. And then this is a new one, Rick. Place temporary posts with caution line between each temporary post and erosion control barrier from wetland flag A6 to A7 to A1 to prevent any degradation of the isolated vegetative wetland. Coordinate pre-construction site meeting with the conservation administrator or agent. So we wanted to get additional posts, Madam Hearing Officer.
If they want to do the trees, that's fine. Whatever they prefer.
I have a point of order. Mr. Craig, point of order. So the commissioners are in the middle, right, of a discussion. The hearing officer made a motion for acceptance, correct?
Correct.
And now we have the administrator, when he's asked to read the orders, conditions, suggesting more conditions while we're in the middle after the hearing officer made a motion. That's slowing down the commission, and the hearing officer made a motion. So I think we ought to stay on protocol. Mr. Administrator, I think we ought to stay on protocol here.
Yeah, I agree. I was on it, Madam Hearing Officer. I just wanted clarity on the ones going out to Joseph Drybeck. Do you want the additional 3 or not, making it 11, or do you want the 8? That's all I'm asking. Clarification. I'm not trying to slow you down.
11.
11 it is. Rick, we're going to get 11. Place 11 as per the plan of record, red and whites. I didn't hear anything on the green and white, so I'll let that slide. Do not damage existing native plant species or provide replacement equivalent in size and or number. All native plantings are going to meet the approved plans in general information item 8. Implementation report, 2 years of monitoring reports prepared by qualified wetland science shall be submitted to the conservation administrator. ensure best management practice, current NFIP regulations and building codes are followed, ensure the footprint of the subsurface remains open or use pervious coverage only. Post-construction, provide an elevation cert, ensure the footprint remains open or use pervious coverage only. This condition remains in perpetuity. At the end, remove the erosion control barrier and arrange for a meeting with the conservation administrator. That's it, Madam Hearing Officer. It's all yours.
Thank you. Could I have a second?
Art Loggy, second.
All right. Art,
Art Loggy, yes.
Mr. Carberry,
Rick Carber, yes.
Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Chairman Jim,
Jim Kilcoyne, yes.
and Craig Hennepin's yes.
7-0, Madam Hearing Officer.
I do have
Okay.
a question, if I have a moment.
Go ahead.
Just on the 11 that we were speaking about. I understand the line you're talking about, Bill, the northerly property line, extending it back towards Joseph Drybeck.
Correct.
So we want an additional 5 markers on that line, is that correct?
You're gonna upgrade to 3 more. You have a total of 8 on the property. See me about this. It's due 12 noon Friday. We'll clean it up.
We have a
It's
total of 6.
6.
Yes.
I see a need for 3 more along there and it'll be fine.
Okay, so that's fair. So
Yeah.
9 total.
Let's get back on that. We'll reduce it if need be. I don't want to
Okay.
take up time on
I
this.
understand.
I'll do 12 noon Friday
You
at
guys
12.
can figure it out.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a great night. Thanks.
Thank you, Rick. Now we're moving on to 57 Oak. And Joe, you're still having this one, right?
I'm still having this one, yes.
All right, so we'll move on to 257 Oak, and Joe is the hearing officer.
Okay, thank you. So I think I'm going to handle this one a little bit differently than we've done most of the hearings. This one is a continuation, it's a revisit. At the last time we heard this, we decided that we wanted to go out and visit the site. Chairman Kilcoyne, Eric Flint, and Bill Grafton joined us on the site with the Weymouths to review the site. We asked them for some modifications of the documents, and Steinbeck and Taylor and John Zimmer were responsive to that. We did notice on the returned documents that there were some additional questions that we had. And those questions caused a postponement until this meeting. And we did get back documents that addressed the issues. Bill, would you, for us, highlight kind of the end after all of the revisions, but which brings us to today? Because I think this one is a little different than most of the ones that we see. And I think it kind of sends us in a different direction. And I'd like a little bit of help to make sure that we get this clear.
Okay, copy that,
Some
Mr.
line issues and the like on the different drawings.
Right, Terry
some
submitted
differences
his
in the-
plan, as you requested. It has some features that are helpful. He's put in a bold blue line that shows the original wetland line. He sent a letter stating that the wetland line was not performed by a qualified wetland scientist, but by himself. It was approved, etc. That's fine. Those lines, I would state for the record, tend to be a little bit more liberal because we're not qualified wetland scientists. So the commission may have approved a line that was slightly more liberal than the current ones. That being said, there are no wetland flags on that line, so it's very difficult to actually compare it to the current one. I actually compared the physical current plan to the physical 2010 plan, and I was able to see differences. It made a lot of difference to have that available. In addition, I think that I think the fate of this is kind of important to know. There was a septic that was applied for in September of 2010 with Terry's wetland line that was approved by the commission. A COC was approved and with an as-built that had the wetland line that Terry had performed exactly the same in December, like 2020, or 2010, that is. The Weymouth bought the property in December 30, 2010. We have aerials in December or June of 2010, fully vegetated. There was a easement that we finally got our hands on. Thank you, Bert, for providing the book and page and all the information. I was able to download that. That was recorded on July 13, 2015, giving an area to the rear of the property 271 Oak Street for use for the Weymouths, including all legal or lawful activities. And then in 2017, I believe the date was July of 2017, we have an aerial that shows substantial deforestation and alteration of the backyard. So something had actually happened at that point in time. That being said, I don't see anything here about addressing proactively mitigation or replication, which is what you do when you propose, or restoration, which is what you do when you're in an after the fact mode. So I don't see that. I don't see any conservation markers being offered, etc. The project itself, if it didn't have all these issues, would be probably not that that concerning, but we have additional issues that we have to start asking ourselves about. And why do we have a different line between Terry McGovern's line and the current wetland scientists? And the possibilities are there that vegetation that once had existed may have been, removed or altered. The areas might have had more vegetation. There is a very strong presence of large hydric trees, no shrubs along the brook in the front of the property. And there is evidence that there's some fill going on along the inland bank as well. So all those kind of indicate some level of alteration in the rear of the property, along the bank fill, and then possible removal. We don't have any photos that can help us with that, but those are possibilities the commission needs to consider. And the question is how to go about managing the project that's proposed from these other activities, which are increasingly becoming made aware to the commission.
Thank you, Bill. In conversation with town council on this subject, we pretty much wound up with, we have compelling evidence that there was alterations to the wetlands between, let's say, approximately 2013 and current date. I think we've all seen, and we can put them up if there's a desire, the drawings that remarkably show modifications of the wetlands in 2015. And so what we're left with is our options are to do an enforcement activity on the Weymouths and on the owner of the property. I don't know his name. I've never heard it, but I'm sure we could find it. And I think given what we see here, that's probably the that's the option I would recommend. Because I think that we've got to deal with the modification that we see, and it is fairly substantive.
Commissioner Joe, may I just jump in for a second, a little out of order?
Sure.
So the easement is with a Leon Perry Jr. 271 Oak.
Thank you.
13th day of July 2015. So I just want to make and I'm sure John might want to have something to say, but I just want to jump in here that I did speak to town council personally on this, on Avenue's approach that we have for this. He thought it was clearly an enforcement order based on fill, also cutting. I asked who is best if we enforced the enforcement order would go on the owner or the Weymouths. And he said that legally, because he owns it, and then the Weymouths have an easement, they both have legal interest in the property. So the enforcement order would be against both. He said, then you will have a period of discovery of trying to identify all these things that Bill was talking about today, but we'll discover those later and figure out what line we want later. And during the process of discovery, you can order mitigation, probably here restoration, to either party or both. So if the commission feels it's compelling, based upon discovery and the information that we received during that process, that the owner, being Mr. Perry, had nothing to do with it, then the entire restoration cost can be borne by the Weymouths. And that would strictly be, he said, at the discretion of the commission. So I think that helps us out on that. And maybe Joe, I think what you were saying is we could probably get this project approved because the project seems fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, get the project approved, and then we do an enforcement order for fill and cutting. I'm just conveying to you exactly what council gave us, and then we can make a decision as a team what we want to do. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Jim. That really does help you with a firsthand with council. So I'm inclined to go in that direction. And I think everybody knows that I am not one who likes to go in enforcement. I'd like to find another alternative, but enforcement does seem like the viable alternative at this point. Is there commission discussion?
May I make another comment, Joe?
Please, Jim.
Yeah, so twice we've heard tonight that we don't want to enforce, okay? So remember, enforcement, it sounds bad.
Yep.
But enforcement is just another pathway to resolution, like an after the fact NOI. And sometimes enforcement actually is an easier pathway than after the fact NOIs. Involves less other departments, if that's proper English. So I wouldn't look at enforcement as bad. It can be actually, it's just a process to get this done. That's all.
It sure is.
Yep.
It would be much more effective to do it in a cooperative manner, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, I see. Sorry, Joseph. You are.
Yep.
So, just one reminder on enforcement, 294 carries $300 a day. The point of discovery is at the point that the commission assigns, and the state can be up to $25,000 a day if it so chooses on enforcement. So it's not that enforcement's so light and unweighty. It does have that also involved. So that's the other component of it.
Right. So I agree with you, Bill. What you're saying there, basically, if we have an applicant or owners or people that we feel may not comply with requests to try to compromise, the commission, if they just use the enforcement as a mechanism, that is always something the commission can fall back on without having to do anything else.
Yes, it's in the bylaw.
Correct.
Sounds like the right way to go.
Yep, I agree.
I need a little clarification and I was also at the visit that day. I had to leave a little early, but I was on the site with the rest of you.
Sorry, Bert, I didn't intentionally leave you out.
No problem, Joe. Just to understand what you're suggesting now, Joe, is it to approve the NOI and then go after the rest of it with an enforcement order? Or do you want to ask the applicant to go back and come back with a revision that includes mitigation?
I think that the best option for everybody is if the applicant could come back with a plan that addresses all of the issues so that we can work it out in the easiest way without having to worry about fines and all of the other things that could go with an enforcement order, so that we get a restoration, they get their addition. I think that works best. I like that suggestion if everybody is willing, but we have not heard from the Weymouths.
So we're here and we were told that this meeting was to bring what we would suggest for the restoration and for the markers and everything. So that's why it's not on the plans, because our understanding was that we were.
Could you give us your name for the record and where you live so I get that
Megan
down?
Weymouth, 257 Oak Street.
Okay, and Mr. Hearing Officer, are they ready to go then? You want to continue?
Sure, please.
And another secondary thing is Leon Perry is, if this is also going to go for restoration to him and to us, he's completely incapacitated. So that needs to be made record, and the town's going to have to contact his power of attorney, who I do not have access to. I mean, we were on the understanding by the commission and everybody who came out that we were to present with Terry McGovern, and we also had John Zimmer come out for, we got by Bill Grafton areas that we wanted flagged across the street that have nothing to do with our property and in the back of our home. And we've had everything done now, spending, even more thousands of dollars getting the site plan. And now hiring John and everything. So we've complied, and it was our understanding that we were coming to this meeting saying what our plan was.
That was, I do agree, that was for the project. We're also looking at the wetland modification, which is a separate issue.
I mean, okay. We have admitted that trees have been taken down because the beetle bore and everything, but okay.
So I guess, Mrs. Weymouth, the option is, would you come back with an alternate proposal to address, and probably Bill would be more than willing to work with you to address the restoration of the areas that was modified, or do we go ahead and approve the project and approve an enforcement order? I'm willing to ask you your preference.
I mean, we're willing to work with you guys. We've been saying this all along. What's presented tonight is completely different from what we were told was going to be happening tonight.
Let me see if I can help. That's because there's two things going on. There's clear past issues that, as we've had additional evidence, have to be addressed. And then there's the project. And as I said in my statement, even tonight, the project's not so bad. It's the past activities, which are pretty grandiose. There can be two ways of dealing with this. We can enforce. It's complicated now because of Mr. Perry's condition, and everybody's sympathetic to that. Or we can work with you and get a pathway going forward and tie it into these orders and conditions. Some of this will have to happen on the front end of the project too. So I'd have to get creative on that. I don't have any idea how to do that yet. So are you willing to provide mitigation, replication, restoration, conservation markers, and those kind of things?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think you can work with your qualified wetland scientists and come up with that and convince the commission at the next meeting that they don't need to enforce and that they can manage this through the project?
Would that be fine to work with John, since he's John Zimmer, and since he's already been out here and flagged?
Yeah, you'll still need Terry because we need an updated revised plan. And Terry's very capable too. So yes, John is totally fine to be at the lead on this. That's fine.
Yeah, your existing team would be great to work with.
Okay.
And can I just raise one point, please?
Sure, John.
For the record,
John Zimmer with South River Environmental. If we could handle the issues associated with the Weymouth property as part of the NOI, because I don't believe that we'll be able to resolve the issues within the easement just because of the landowner's current state, and that will take us some time to be able to get, because we need to get sign off from the landowner to be able to do anything within that easement because he's the underlying landowner. So, we could handle that one through a friendly enforcement issue or however you guys want to handle it, but allow the addition and the restoration within the Weymouth property to move forward, knowing that this other piece is coming behind it. It's just the amount of time it's going to take to coordinate with the landowner might be problematic.
Mr. Hearing Officer, none of us are lawyers, but that easement says all lawful activities. So this is possible to work like that. If John can lead it with strong front end, addressing a restoration plan should be delivered like immediately, like immediately.
So Commissioner Ring, may I speak again, please?
Yes, please.
So just for the commission to understand, I laid out this exactly to town council. Exactly what we're doing here. The man's incapacitated, it's going to be difficult. And also if we go the way we seem to be going, that's fine. But they're still going to have to deal with someone who's incapacitated, and it can go on for months and months and months, all right? So enforcement is a mechanism to keep things moving, because you have different authorities than doing it this way. Town council said this was clearly an enforcement issue. You can take it anywhere you want. The commission does not have to do that. They can approach it any way they want. It provides a mechanism. Either way, you're going to have to speak to this individual. If what happened, it's clearly a violation of the easement, the individual may want to rescind the easement as a result of this. So you're going to have some legal protection here, I think, for all the complications that's going to occur. And so I think that's where council gave you that. I just want to give you that information.
So may I summarize what I think I heard? No matter which way you work it, we're still going to have those legal issues with the owner of the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we split it up and we segment it and look at the project in its entirety and push that ahead and deal with the enforcement secondarily, at least the project moves ahead.
Yes.
And I think that might be we end up at the same endpoint, no matter how long the legal stuff starts, but at least the family can get their project started, right?
Correct, Rick.
Right.
Correct.
Yep.
And it also gets a portion of the restoration faster within their property.
Yeah.
So what do I hear? Do I hear that we are willing to, that we want to have some modification and an enforcement order, or do we want to go ahead with the project as it exists and an enforcement order? Is there any discussion on which one of those? Rather than doing a poll to make this move, is there any discussion?
I would say your second option.
Yep.
Yeah, just we got a plan. It's pretty good, right? John did it up. We've got some mitigation that we need. Everything else can be captured later, Joe, and the other thing. Let can move forward with their project, and then we won't tie those together. That could take months, and they wouldn't be able to move forward.
Okay, I like that option. Thank you all for working together. Bill, could you help us craft a solution to this?
Yeah, that was interesting. I'm not.
Bill, all we need to do, Bill, is we need to just have a motion to accept the plan in front of us for this, and then we do an enforcement order.
Yep.
That's all we need to do. We just need to make a motion.
Yeah, I would suggest making a motion with standard conditions and as per the plan of record. Okay.
Okay, so I will make a motion that we approve the project with standard conditions, and that we also ask our administrator to work on an enforcement action for the restoration of the wetlands.
Joe, we may want to do those separate. So
separately,
legally. So we'll do the approve their house for them, that legally done for them, and then
but then they could not linked.
Yeah, to keep them on legally. Yeah.
So I will ask for two, and we'll do them separately.
So
I would ask for a
to close an issue.
Motion to
close an issue.
Yes, to close and issue special orders of conditions with special conditions, orders of conditions with special conditions. Bill has already said that he's going to use the standard conditions. I would ask your leeway in not reading those at this point. And do we have a second for such a motion?
Second, recovery.
Ooh, I saw Susan move faster, but I heard Rick. That's an awful close one.
Rick gets it.
Rick, you get it. So with that, Rick, how do you vote?
Rick Carberry is yes.
Craig?
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Bert?
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Susan, thank you for the second.
And
How do you
sec-
vote?
Susan Karen, yes.
And Art?
Art Loggy, yes.
Jim?
Jim Kilcoyne, yes.
And Joe Ring also votes yes, so that means it carries 7-0. And now for the second, I would like to make a motion that we ask our administrator to work on an enforcement action for the restoration of the wetlands. Do we have a second?
Art Loggy, second.
Thank you, Art.
Clarification,
Thank you, Bert. Just make sure we get it.
well, just, is this something we have to vote on?
Yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah, you have to vote on all enforcements.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we had to, okay, so we feel we gathered enough information, we have all the facts.
No, that will come as part of discovery after the enforcement. Then we go to discovery.
Okay, because discovery is what, I don't believe we've done an adequate job of that yet, but this lets us move forward with it, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
sorry.
I maybe not adequate, but there certainly was enough information that came out that would say that we want to look into an enforcement on this and get restoration done. So I don't think it's just sort of without foundation.
The evidence was
No,
provided.
absolutely, I agree, and we can move forward.
So we have a motion and a second by Art. So we can take a vote. So with that, I'd like to start on the vote. I'm going to start with Jim.
Jim Kilcoyne, yes.
Art?
Art Loggy, yes.
Rick?
Carberry, yes.
Craig?
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Bert?
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Susan?
Susan Karen, yes.
And Joe Ring will also vote yes. So we have a 7-0 again. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, John. You're muted, John.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Hey, John. So you understand why we delink that, right? So you can help them understand that? So they
Yes.
move forward with their project, and we'll take that separately. I mean, that could go on for months, you know, if it's hard to get a hold of him, and they could not maybe build their house until next year. So we'll see
Yes.
those
But-
out, all right?
Yeah, my only question on that is, will there be two separate enforcement orders, one for each property?
No, Attorney Galvin said one enforcement order naming both.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so now we move to 300 Ridge Road.
And Jim, I believe I am on for this one as well.
Joe, I think you have 300 to get all my papers together here. I miss Bill. I got to tell you, Bill, I miss you here.
I miss
300 We're going to 300 Ridge Road, and Joe is the hearing officer. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, so this is an amended order of conditions application. And as you may remember, back when we heard this a month ago, there was a request for permitting or adjusting for a paved driveway. The original proposal was a non-paved driveway and some miscellaneous structures. And if there is no objection, I'm going to summarize it as at the end, the issue that we had was with the driveway, and there was very strong support for removing the driveway, and a proposal came up that looked at some alternative actions that we could come up with. And we decided in the end to have the applicant come back with an alternate proposal. I believe that they did a really nice job doing the alternate proposal. And John, I think it was your work Are you willing to talk about
Sure.
your proposal?
Yep, sure. Once again, John Zimmer, South River Environmental. Is it okay if I share my screen, Bill?
Absolutely. Give me a second. Where are you? There you are. Should be coming your way.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, good stuff. Okay, so at the hearing, it was about a month or so ago, we had talked about removing a portion of the existing paved driveway, basically from, at least 10 feet back from the curb cut onto Ridge Road. So that's basically what we did on both sides, is we are going to remove the existing pavement, and the Follettes wanted to have a little bit of, I guess, the option to either use gravel or a cobblestone, and a pervious type cobble for that, section that we'd be removing. So we did put in a detail for use of a paver type access. So that would be removed. If you can remember back when we first saw this, it was my chicken scratch plan, which, so we went back and had Bob Crawford update the as-built plan to show everything that I had on that old plan, update the impervious table, and then address some of the comments that Bill had, like making sure we noted that the conservation markers would be brought up to the edge of the lawn, where the various plantings would go, general vicinity, not exact locations, for the bayberry shrubs, and then high tide bush along the marsh with red cedar and beech rose, basically between the conservation markers and the salt marsh. And then we included all of the rest of the as-built details that were not in the original notice of intent. So I think what we have now is a plan that meets the intent of the mitigation that we discussed at the initial hearing. And I think hopefully there are no outstanding issues. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, Mr. Hearing Officer.
Thank you. Commissioners, any discussion? Is there, I don't hear any discussion, so I'd like to go to public discussion. Hearing no public discussion, I would like to make a motion that we close and issue orders of conditions with special conditions that Bill will summarize for us.
Okay, bear with me, Mr. Hearing Officer. So these have different types of conditions because the work's already happened. So DO, within 30 days of the issuance of these orders of conditions, register both sets of orders. These are amended. I write with the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds and provide evidence to the Conservation Office and post Mass DEP sign. Relocate the 4 permanent conservation markers, red and white, inscribed with Marshfield Wetland, no resource, no disturbance, on 4x4 rot-resistant, pressure-treated cedar or equivalent post as depicted on the final approved plans referenced in A, general information, item 8. There should be no removal or alteration activities such as mowing or vegetative management, downgrading the permanent conservation markers. This condition remains in perpetuity. All native plantings depicted on the final approved plans in A, general information, item 8, shall be planted in spring 2021 and achieve at least 75% successful growth within 2 growing seasons as per 310 CMR 10.24 and 10.53 general provisions. An implementation report and 2 years of monitoring reports prepared by a qualified wetland scientist shall be submitted to the conservation administrator. The planting shall conform to size, species, and numbers referenced in the approved site plans and mitigation plan found in A, general information, item 8. Downsizing of the plant materials is not acceptable. Any and all substitutions must be justified with supporting information approved by the Conservation Commission or its administrator. Any replacement plantings within the monitoring season shall comply with size and species requirements in the approved site plan and mitigation plan. Remove the 470 square feet of pavement depicted on the approved site plan referenced in A, General information, item 8, coordinate pre-construction site meeting with the conservation administrator. That's all to take place within 30 days. Okay, no questions. Before D1, before commencing the proposed work, follow all pertinent marshal bylaws, obtain all subsequent permits, ensure erosion control. One second here. Ensure erosion control is in place. Applicant shall observe 310 CMR 10.05 requirement that no work shall commence until all applicable administrative appeal periods have elapsed. D2, during construction of the proposed work, ensure best management practice and current building codes are followed. Ensure the footprint of the undeveloped surface remains open or use pervious coverage only. D3, post-construction, the proposed work and ongoing conditions. Ensure the footprint of the undeveloped surface remains open or use pervious coverage only. This remains in perpetuity. Okay. The conservation plans referenced in A and D, special conditions above and on the approved site plan referenced in A, general information item 8, and prohibition on vegetation removal down gradient is ongoing. At the conclusion of the work, describing the plan of record and with the approval of the conservation administrator, any erosion control shall be removed. And the conservation administrator is to be contacted to perform a site visit post removal. That is it, Mr. Hearing Officer.
Thank you. Does that motion have a second?
Second, Craig Hannafin.
Thank you, Craig. So I'd like to start the vote. We'll start off with Art,
Art Loggy, yes.
Rick,
Rick Carber, yes.
Craig,
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Bert,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Jim,
Jim Kilcoyne, yes.
and Joe Ring will also vote yes, meaning 7-0, motion carries. Thank you.
Good, thanks very much.
Thank you, everybody, for putting together a good plan.
Thanks, John, for your help on that. Thanks, Joseph.
Thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Yeah, take care. So now we're moving on to the sadly, the last part of the meeting. We're moving on to steps of compliance and extensions. This one is SE 422581, 163, 167 Island Street. Make a motion that we vote to approve the certificate of compliance, satisfactory completion of the orders of conditions, and I'd like to look for a second for that, please.
Art Loggy, second.
Bill's doing like exercises. Bill, did you catch that? That was Arthur.
Bear with me. I was putting things away. On Brewster, it was second on Art and first on Jim. Motion on Jim. Okay.
Brewster? Why not?
Which one?
I don't know.
I'm on the wrong page. You got me. I'm on the wrong page. My bad.
6A.
That's okay. No, so it's a COC first ones.
Crowther, right? 167. Okay, I got you. So that was Art. Your second. Got it. I do have it now.
That was
And
the
you got
second.
your vote.
And we're gonna do a roll call vote now. Yes. Commissioner Rick.
Rick Carber, yes.
Mr. Craig.
Craig Hannafin, yes.
Commissioner Arthur.
Art Loggy, yes.
Mr. Ring.
Joe Ring, yes.
Susan.
Susan Karen, yes.
Vice Chair Burt.
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes, so that certificate of compliance is done, Bill, for you. Next one is SE 422735, 485 Pleasant Street. There's a vote to ratify an extension of the order of conditions to a date not to exceed 3 years. Do we have a month on that, Bill? Is it today? 3 years from now?
Okay. I didn't have it in front of me at the time I wrote it up. Bear with me.
If we ratify tonight, it'll be 3 years. All right.
Yeah, we're having it extend out to July 19, 2024.
7/17/24.
7/19/19, 2024. Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we ratify an extension of the order of conditions to a date not to exceed 7/19/2024. Could I have a second for that, please?
Second by Joe Ring.
Thank you, Joseph. Bill was catched by Joe, and we'll do a vote. Let's catch someone off guard. Get you first this time.
Who are you catching first?
Huh?
Who are you catching first?
I didn't do my second yet?
I seconded it.
Second
Yeah,
is
so
Joe.
I'm going with Susan first.
Susan Karen, yes.
Here we go. Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hanafin, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. All right, so we did that too, Bill. Bill, is there anything else that we missed this evening?
No, it's been a fun night.
We
I think
battled
the
through
scheduled
some.
continued hearings,
We
what about
battled-
the three continued hearings that they requested continuances before the meeting? I don't think there was a vote on those.
Yep, that's a good point. So,
Three,
that's our transcriber who's saving the.
Chris, so
Yes, sir.
we did not do the, I thought that's where we had the conversations about the continue.
No, we put it in there twice and 3 times, so we gotta go back and do those. This is why they're on the front and the back end, and we burned through them. So planning fields you did, okay, but the 3 scheduled ones, Brewster Road, as Chris was saying, South River Street, Dewey, and Marginal Lawson, never got votes.
Yep, Chris is right. Good catch.
Good
All right,
catch.
Chris, so
Keep them-
fantastic. You
We're
want me to do
keeping them.
Brewster, South River, and Marginal, Chris?
That is correct.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to continue. Brewster, SE 422887, thank you, by the way, Christopher, to 5-4 public meeting as per the applicant's attorney. I'm looking for a second.
Craig Hanafin, second.
Do a roll call vote, Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hanafin, yes.
Commissioner Ring,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Karen.
Susan Karen, yes.
Who am I missing? Me? Jim Kilcoyne, yes. I think I got everybody. Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Vice Chair Burt.
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Art
Hold on,
Loggy,
my rhythm
yes.
here now. SC 422905. We're going to vote to continue to 504 public meeting as per the written request of the applicant's representative. I look for a second for that.
Second, Joe Ring.
We got Joe, Bill, the roll
Yep.
call, Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hanafin, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne, yes. And this makes it last but not least. SE 422916, 62 Marginal Road, vote to continue to 6-1. At least we got it out a little farther. Public meeting as per the attorney's written request. I would look for a second for that, please.
Second, Rick Carberry.
Mr. Rick gets that one. And we'll do a roll call vote and we'll just kind of catch someone off guard. Commissioner Susan,
Susan Karen, yes. I'm awake.
Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Commissioner Craig,
Craig Hanafin, yes.
and Commissioner Rick.
Rick Carberry, yes.
And Vice Chair Burt.
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. So do I get you on that one on Arthur? I did, right?
Yes, you got it.
Okay, I thought so. Because I threw away my cheat sheet, so I'm just trying to look at everybody's faces on the screen when I go around. So I think with that, unless we have any other things we missed from a procedural perspective? No?
No.
I get my little closing hammer out here. So with that, I would like to conclude this evening's meeting of the Marshfield Conservation Commission, continued from 2020, closing out this one on 4/22, and I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting.
Motion seconded by Joe Ring.
Joe won. Do a roll call vote. See what we can do here. Commissioner Arthur,
Art Loggy, yes.
Commissioner Joe,
Joe Ring, yes.
Mr. Susan,
Susan Karen, yes.
Mr. Craig,
Craig Hanafin, yes.
Commissioner Rick,
Rick Carberry, yes.
Vice Chair Burt,
Bert O'Donnell, yes.
Jim Kilcoyne is a yes. Officially closed the meeting. Thank you, everybody, everyone that's behind the scenes that was helping us this evening. I thank you very much. We had no interruptions, no problems. I appreciate your efforts. Chris, thank you very much for joining this evening. I kind of noticed to help us out in case anything happened. You always do a fantastic job for us.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
night.
Thanks.
Good night, all.
Night.
All right.
Everybody, good night. Thank you.